Okay, now they can hear. You can hear fine, and they can hear fine. And hello, Deb. Deb's back for more cooking, and we're live. Now I don't know how this one will work actually. Just maybe should go further back. I'll put it there. Oh, the camera lens is all dirty.
That's yours. I've just taken it out of the oven. It looks beautiful, but I haven't tasted it yet.
All right.
Well, that's for another story.
All right, we're going to just adjust that.
I'm
too tall. Okay. All right. We are good to go. You can see Noah. You can see Bella. I'm going to move this back so you can see my.
Hey,
all right. Now, can you get me a chair, please?
Anything, but I'm just peeling in now.
All right. Who's coming on? Helen's here. Good. So we've got Helen. We've got Roz and Rod watching on Facebook, and I can't see who's on YouTube, but I can see there are people there. All right, so what I'm going to do, just initially, I'm just going to mute. I'm going to mute everyone just for now.
Hello, I can't see everybody. What's going on?
View. Okay. Okay. Can everyone? Whoa. Hold on. Why can I hear you? What the heck just happened? No, it just shut down. Yeah, sorry Facebook and YouTube, but Zoom has become very unstable. Is Beryl connected to the internet?
Yes.
Can you get off? Just to free up the line. Oh, sorry everyone. The main people on Zoom aren't. My computer's stuffing up at the key moment. That's how it goes. So we can start with a very important lesson in the kitchen. One has to. We're back. All right. Is that all good now? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Good. So hello. I'm going to actually. All right. So I'm not going to mute you, but if everyone talks at the same time, then I don't hear the questions. But I'm just going to start. Firstly, I want to say a big hello to all the people on Facebook. I want to say hello to. No, we've got to leave that there. We've got to leave that there. And I'm going to say hello to. All right. I'm not sure. I can see me. Everyone can see me. All right. So I'm going to start. We're going to be making cholent today, and I've sent out the ingredients. However, I haven't sent out the measurements. There's a bit of an argument as to what the origin of cholent actually is. And many people say that the word cholent is actually a Yiddish word that originates from a French term of cholent, which is a hot stew. Now, even if it's not that, it sounds pretty good, and it probably makes most sense that it is. We use the word cholent in many, many ways. Cholent is a word that is usually referred to not only as stew, but when you make a whole cholent of something, it's you've mixed a whole lot of stuff together. So what I want to tell you is that there is no right way to make a cholent. A cholent needs to just have a whole lot of stuff. There's no right and wrong amount. Some people like a gluggy cholent, some people like a stewy cholent, some like a liquid cholent, some like a vegetarian cholent, some like a Sephardi cholent, some like an Ashkenazi. There's no right way to make cholent, but I can tell you not all cholents are actually good. So I'm going to show you how to make a cholent. That's my goal today. Was that again, David?
I'll make a mean cholent.
Well, I don't know what you're doing here then. So you want to compare, make sure that yours is good. So
I know. We can have a cholent.
I'm keen. The government just announced what restrictions are being lifted, and Cholent offs didn't make it. So we're going to remain independent kings and queens of our Cholent in our names. So Cholent, though, although a Yiddish and European word, is not from Poland or Russia. The concept of eating hot food on Shabbat, and particularly on Shabbat day, originates all the way back to a Mishnaic and temple period discussion, where there was a bitter rivalry between whether two factions, the interpreters of the Torah and the literalists. The literalists said you're not allowed to have any hot food because you're not allowed to have any heat, you can't have any fire. And the interpreters said, of course you can have a fire, just don't light it on Shabbos. If you have a pre-existing fire, it's allowed to be there. And you don't have to extinguish it before Shabbos. And what they did was they actually encouraged their students to make sure they always had a food that had been kept hot over Shabbos so as to demonstrate that they disagree with the literalists. Today, all Jews follow the interpreters. The literalists died out a couple thousand years ago. So we are actually continuing not so much an argument as much as the outcome of an argument and a 2,000-year tradition and Jewish custom, or to the point I would say Jewish law, of eating a hot food on Shabbos. So, where do we start? So we've got all the ingredients. There is no right or wrong order because we're going to stew everything. Our family likes to have a bit of beans in the cholent. We've got this Cholent mix here. I can't hold up the bag because it broke. But we've got all sorts of beans. But we do, thank you, Bella. Bella's going to be our model. We actually try not to put too many beans in. Can anyone tell me why we don't put too many beans? Because beans are good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you... Exactly, and therefore we don't put too many beans because it makes for a beautiful cholent, but it makes for a very disappointing Saturday night. So we just put enough to give us that hint of bloating and joy, but not to take us the whole way. And instead we overcompensate on barley. Now, of course, that's a starch. It's got gluten, not advisable for those who have issues with all that. But for those that like a gluggy cholent, the more of this, the better you are. So I have prepared in my silver measuring cup a whole lot. How much do you need? Well, I reckon anywhere from 150 grams to 350 grams. You just got to do this by feel. If it feels like it's too much, it probably is. If it feels about right, you're doing well. So I have to feed Rochel, myself, Beryl, Pepe, Noach, and Bella. That's 6 people. We like to have the cholent Shabbos day, but we also like to have a bit of a cholent a little later in the afternoon, and some around here like to have it again Saturday night. That's not an orthodox, ultra-orthodox thing. That's just love of cholent. It's a straight-up Jewish foodie thing. So I've already prepared, I would say this cup is 2/3, 3/4, I should say, barley and 1/4 beans. So that's my ratio. I've also soaked it in water. Rochel's very into soaking it overnight, letting them really puff up. I don't like doing that, but you do have to rinse it because there's all sorts of rubbish in the bag. You just don't know. So I'm going to spill out my water, and I'm going to then let that sit.